Hello, I'm Al Neely with Listen Up Podcast, and today we have Suzanne Richmond. She is an assistant Commonwealth Attorney for the city of Newport News.
Yes, I am.
However, she was born in Virginia Beach, and she's running for a Commonwealth Attorney for the city of Virginia Beach.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it was...
I'm excited.
Yes. Yes. So you're a native.
Yes, I am.
Tell me a little bit about growing up here in Virginia Beach.
Sure.
What was life like for you?
It was good.
Both your parents are attorneys?
My father's an attorney.
Okay, so go ahead.
We lived in Stratford Chase. We always lived in Kempsville and kind of in the heart of Kempsville. Then when I was in second grade, my parents built a house in Bellamy Woods, and I had a great childhood. I was really lucky. The street we lived on, there was about a dozen houses, and it was a cul-de-sac, and it was all families, and there were probably 24 kids on the street, and it was a very Norman Rockwell type of childhood. We were in and out of each other's houses all the time, and we would have block parties at the end of the street.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It was.
You're in contact with any of those?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
It was. Virginia Beach is unique because it's such a transient area. And I think a lot of military people live in Virginia Beach, or people come here for jobs, and they don't have family. And so they find friends, and like our street, it was just like one big family. And the sense of community, I took it for granted at the time. And then looking back and talking to people, I realized not everyone had that. But it was good. And my parents, my mom was very outgoing and she called herself the mayor of Southby Court, and our house was right in the middle, and she would sit on the porch and just she knew everything that was going on. Nothing got by her. But my parents had an open door kind of policy, and people would stop by. They were very welcoming, and they were both really active in the community.
Okay. Yeah. So your father, talk about him. He was an attorney, right?
Yes.
What city?
So my father was a federal prosecutor.
Oh, really?
He was an assistant United States attorney, and he's retired now, but growing up, that's what he did. And he had a demanding schedule. He's a trial lawyer. There was maybe one time I remember he was in a long jury trial. And I remember saying to my mom, because he was working a lot then, this was not typical, but he would leave before I woke up in the morning, and then he wouldn't get home until after I was asleep. And I remember one morning saying to my mom, I miss my daddy. I just wish daddy would be here. But he was active. He was a very active father. He coached our sports. He always came to our things, our events. And I always appreciated, even though he had a demanding career, he always came to parent-teacher conferences, and he always made it a priority to show up for his kids. I mean, both my parents did.
Oh, you have brothers and sisters?
I do. Yeah, there were four of us.
Oh, okay.
So I have an older sister.
Are they still here in the city?
My younger sister is.
Okay.
My older sister lives in Richmond. She's 3 years older than me. And then I'm the middle child. I have middle child syndrome. So I like this attention. And then I have a brother who's 18 months younger than me. And we're still very close. In high school, we had a lot of the same friends, and we were just kind of always together. And then I have a younger sister, and she lives in Virginia Beach. My brother lives in South Carolina.
How many are attorneys?
Just me.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just me.
That's awesome.
So thanks.
Why did you decide to run for Commonwealth Attorney?
So
what inspired you?
Well, when I went to law school to be a prosecutor. Mm-hmm. I remember watching my dad as a young child, and I was inspired by him. And a prosecutor's calling is higher because you're not serving one client, you serve the people. And that can mean different things, because ultimately what the prosecutor wants to find the truth, and you want justice, fairness. And those are things that my parents instilled in me from a very young age.
Talk about that. Talk about how your background.
Okay. So I think the number one rule in my parents' house was tell the truth. And that no matter how bad it is, the worst thing the worst defense would be to lie to my parents. So that was like one of our top family values. And then do the right thing. And so...
And you know what I want to know, right?
What?
So what was the worst thing you ever did?
I was actually pretty good. You're the middle child. I wasn't a great driver. And so there was like a 6-month stretch where I had more than one fender bender, and I was in high school. And one day I called my dad at work, and he just heard me, and he said, "Did you get in another car accident?" And I said, "Yes." But I was pretty good. I was shy as a child. And then when I went to high school, I started running, and I did cross country. That was a challenge, and it gave me confidence, just persevering, and it was hard. And I feel like that developed the roots for just grit and just following through.
It also, you said working as a prosecutor, you have to work as with other prosecutors as a team, right? So I'd imagine that probably helped you with team building.
Yes,
right?
Yes, yeah. And it's I think prosecutors' offices work best when everybody works together, and it is kind of like sports, that we all have our position, and you're all trying to accomplish one goal. And it kind of, when you're sitting in court, I was actually thinking about this morning, we sit there on benches and only one case goes at a time. So you're kind of watching the other lawyers, and it's almost like sitting on a bench in a game. And then like your coworkers are sitting there, and like how you would talk to a teammate, you're kind of like talking about, can you believe that? Or what do you think about this? And you're kind of like whispering, holding up a legal pad. Yeah. But it's good. And I think lawyers, we have a unique profession where we teach each other. And some of the best teachers I've ever had have been lawyers, and just watching other lawyers in court, or listening to them, reading opinions. I've learned a lot from other lawyers and judges.
So in the legal profession, I don't know if it's like anything else. You have mentors, I would imagine. So who would you say you've see as a mentor, or you've gotten a lot of influence?
Sure.
In terms of your career?
So my dad is a mentor to me, and I've had several. I've been really fortunate that I have a lot of really good mentors. But I was just thinking earlier today, I was kind of going through my career history, I guess. And I remember distinctly my father showing me how to write my name, how to spell my name. And he also told me what it means for a criminal defendant to have standing for the purposes of the Fourth Amendment. And it's kind of cool. I don't think many people can say that their dad showed them how to write their name and then can explain criminal procedure to them. But I have that with my dad, and I don't know, it's special. And as a prosecutor, I mean, he was a prosecutor, so not so much anymore do I call him about cases, but when I was younger, I would call him and say, what do you think about this? Or you make offers, because a lot of cases you resolve them with a plea agreement. So I would call my dad and say, what do you think about this as an offer? Just bounce it off him.
Yeah. How long have you been an attorney? You look really young.
Oh, that's nice. So I graduated law school in 2007. Okay. So I don't do math. That's why I went to law school. Maybe 18 years, 17. But I was a law clerk for a year after law school. Then I worked at the Norfolk Commonwealth Attorney's office, and probably the most influential mentor that I've had in my career. She was a senior assistant at the Commonwealth Attorney's office, and she taught me everything I know about being a prosecutor. And there was she's been a lawyer for a long time. She's a judge now. But there was never a question that was too small or too big. And she always made time for me, and just she taught me so much. And that is who I credit with. I was young, pretty fresh out of law school, and she is a legal giant in the community. Really? And but she took me under her wing, and she taught me everything. So, and she was just a great teacher, and teaching me how to try cases, sitting with me as a young attorney, like first time in court, or being able to go to her office after court and kind of do an autopsy of the case and what could you do better. But she was very wise and had a lot of experience, and I'm really grateful that I had that experience where she taught me so much.
Right. You were talking about earlier, you were talking about the influence of your father and your mother on the family, and then that relationship, what it was like, your father being an attorney. Do you have children?
Do I?
Married? Yeah.
Yes.
Married with children?
I'm not married.
Okay.
But I have 3 children.
Oh, how old are they?
So my oldest son is 12. Then I have a 10-year. I have 3 boys. Hank is 12, George is 10, and Billy is 7.
Talk about your relationship with them, because obviously you don't want to do what made you feel like your father was not there, right?
So he was. I mean, maybe I phrased that poorly. It was that was the only time I remember thinking. Okay. And it was one trial that it was a really serious case. But I guess I said that more that, for the 18 years and then even college, and actually lived with my parents when I was in law school. Okay. Yeah, but it was only one time, and he was a federal prosecutor, and there was only one time I remember him working a lot, but he always made time for us. So, so the boys are, they're funny, and
are they active?
Yes.
Outside of school?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So they do. The summer they swam. They did swim team, and Hank plays lacrosse and basketball. George does volleyball and football. Billy does kind of whatever we sign him up for. Okay. So he's going to do football in the fall. I think Hank's going to do lacrosse, and George is going to do football. But they're busy, and they're also active in Scouts.
Okay.
And that I like the organization and the values that they teach.
That was very big in the, I guess, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, through the 70s, I would imagine. But it had a message, and it taught you, one, taught you how to think and figure out how to solve problems. Mm-hmm. So, I run into guys all the time that can't change a tire or, so... they couldn't start a campfire with, flint and stone or something. So those values that it teaches you are really, really helpful in life. And we've kind of gotten away from that. So was that your idea to do that?
So that was their dad, dad. And it's, I really like the program and the Scouts. It's almost a Montessori type structure, and the older Scouts teach the younger Scouts how to put up a tent, they shop for, when they go camping, they shop for their own food and they cook their own food.
They shop?
Yeah, I mean, they go to a grocery store and they buy like the food they need for their camp out.
You're not doing that at the campground.
No.
I'm like, do they call honey shopping now or something? Or fishy?
It's cute. And I actually, that has been kind of a guidepost for us as parents. And there's the Scout law I really like. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And when I'm talking to the boys, those are the things I kind of always try and steer them back to. Yeah. Is the Scout law and the 10 Commandments. And I say, if you ever are wondering what you should do, like, these are the 10 Commandments and then the Scout law, and when you think about those two things, what do you think you should do? And they usually arrive at the right decision most of the time. I mean, but another thing I like about the Scouts is another one of their mottos is one good turn a day, and just doing one good deed a day, and how if everybody does one good deed a day, we can affect real change. And so I've noticed the boys will do small acts of kindness. And sometimes they think I'm not watching, but I am.
That has to make you feel good. Yeah. In the way climate is today.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. They're good boys. I'm really lucky.
You were talking about the 10 Commandments. So let's talk about your structure of you growing up in your household with your family. Your parents, they attend church?
Yes. So I am a cradle Catholic, and I still go to church. I go to St. Nicholas in Virginia Beach. We went to church every weekend. We actually went to Saturday night mass. And that my mother had a very deep faith. But we went to church every weekend, and there was no getting out of it. We just knew, and if we asked to do something that was during church, you knew going into it that my mom was going to say no, because that was something we did as a family every weekend. When we got older in high school, I mean, with sports and everything, that changed, but my mom still, she would say, well, if you're living in this house, then you're going to go to church, even if that means going to a different mass at a different time.
So you had to go when you were in law school? Did your mom make you go?
She didn't. I would go, and it's there's
By
something.
Then it had been instilled in you.
There's something about it it's comforting because the Mass is so traditional. And I mean, parts of it have changed, but I feel like it grounds me. And it also, just the reflection and the peace. So I actually enjoy going to church. My mom would be proud.
That's good. You said that she would be?
Yeah.
That would indicate that she's not with
She,
you. Okay.
yes.
That's something you would mind talking about?
Sure.
Okay.
So my mom passed away in 2017. And I knew that she had been sick. My siblings and I knew that something was wrong, but she refused to go to the doctor. And her birthday was on January 25th. And my younger sister was at my parents' house, and she called me the night of my mom's birthday, and she said, something is wrong with Mom. And I said, well, what do you mean? Like, what happened? And she said, well, tonight she fell. And I asked, well, did something happen? Like, and Elizabeth said, no, she collapsed. So I knew that there was something wrong. But I went to visit my parents, because my parents actually they moved to Lynchburg for a period of time. So the weekend after her birthday, I went to my parents' house, and my mom looked very sick. I knew she did not look like herself at all. But I stayed for the weekend, and then I went home, and she told me that she felt a lot better, and she was fine. She was going to be fine. Then the following week, she got really sick, and my dad said, either I'm going to take you to the emergency room, or there was a doctor who lived across the street from them. And he said, you're going to go to the emergency room, or I'm going to go across the street and ask Laura to come over because you're really sick. So she said, okay, I'll go to the emergency room. And then 2 days later, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Oh, my.
And so I was actually telling Morgan about it, but she was diagnosed on February 2nd, and she died February 27th. So it was a shock.
She didn't let on that she was feeling sick that whole time?
I knew she wasn't feeling good because she and my dad had come to visit at Christmas, and she was usually very active and very talkative. And her energy level was just really low, and she didn't really want to eat. But she refused to go to the doctor. Mm-hmm. And so I think she probably knew, she just didn't want to know. And so...
Or she didn't want to tell you guys?
Yeah.
Some parents like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry them. Yeah.
That was her, everything's fine, everything's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. And she, my mom was a fighter. And it was, she did not have, it's hard watching your parent suffer. And mm-hmm. I think the only thing, after my mom passed away, I went back to work, and I was talking to a woman in the courthouse, and they knew that my mom had been sick because I'd been out. And she said, there's nothing worse than watching your parent die. And I said, the only thing that I can imagine would be worse is watching one of your kids die. Yeah. And it left a hole. And at the time, she wanted to stay home, and she wanted to die at home. And we were able to keep her home. Mm-hmm. And my siblings and I, we kind of took shifts, and we were taking care of her. But it's so exhausting taking care of somebody, and then you're not really processing the grief because it's you're just kind of doing the next thing. And one of us would sleep next to her in case she woke up in the middle of the night. And I had 2 little boys. George was 2. Hank was 3, about to be 4, and I was pregnant with Billy. And I just remember after, I wasn't there when she died. I left 2 days before to go back to my house. My kids' other grandparents, actually, it was incredibly kind. They came and stayed and took care of them so that I could be with my mom. And when she died, it was just kind of like this, all of the exhaustion just kind of comes crashing down on you. And then, like, I felt like my brain, because I talked to my mom every day when she was alive, and my brain would kind of forget that, oh, she died. And I remember one day I was driving home and I was like, God, I haven't talked to mom in so long. And then it's like, oh, yeah. But it was weird the way that kind of adjusting to that. And my mom had such a strong presence, and she was really funny and engaging, very charismatic. And a friend of my family's, she had a ton of friends. And I was talking to a family friend shortly after she died. And he said, your mom, like, it's a huge void, because if your mom was in a room, you could feel it and you knew she was there. Yeah. And it's so true. And people talk about the holidays being hard, and they are, but the times I miss my mom the most are quiet days, because she would come visit me and stay, and she loved to do laundry. So she would come and be like, we're going to get all your laundry done. And I would be like, okay. But we would just hang out together. I mean, we would watch movies. We would do laundry together. I still, every once in a while, I will see an adult child and their mother at the grocery store or Target. And I miss just simple things like that I used to do with my mom.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah. Gives you a brand new perspective on not losing someone, gives you a perspective on the value of
relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You take so many things for granted. Yeah.
That did shift my perspective, and after she died, I kind of made an internal decision that I was really going to focus on relationships and friendships, and because I think that's what feeds our soul is.
Yeah.
And I see that with my kids and your father. But you invest in your kids and you teach them, and it's so rewarding to see them learn something new or do the right thing. And it's an awesome, I mean, in the true sense of the word,
right,
awesome thing to see.
Yeah. Wow. So let's talk about why you decided, since we're talking about relationships.
Yeah.
Why did you decide that you wanted to run for the Commonwealth Attorney's office for Virginia Beach?
Sure. So I'm a Virginia Beach native, born and raised here. My favorite job as a lawyer is being a prosecutor. And I love the city and I love the job.
Why do you like being a prosecutor, though?
I think the work is really important, and a lot of times there are cases that are complicated for different reasons. It might be because the victim in a child sex case is very young, or might be on the spectrum and trying to work with the witness because they have to testify, or the victims might be elderly. There are also cases where people might be afraid to come to court. And again, I think building relationships with people, and this is something I learned from my mentor at the Commonwealth Attorney's office.
Okay.
She had a lot of street cred in Norfolk. And and she would tell me that people knew her. And I mean, one guy actually wrote a rap about her.
Really?
and she was prosecuting him. But he told his lawyer, he said, no, I know if she says she's going to do something, she's going to do it. And having that level of trust where people in the community know you and they trust you, that's invaluable. And so I think Virginia Beach needs some fresh blood, fresh energy. I am disturbed with the level of shootings that are happening in our city. One of them, actually, my kids go to public school. I went to Virginia Beach Public Schools. Mm-hmm. But there was a shooting in June, and I got the text message that no parent ever wants to get. Old Donation School was briefly put on an external lockdown this morning while police investigated an incident near our campus. And there was an officer-involved shooting across the street from where my son goes to school. The individual, the gun was not a real gun, but this is just one of many. There's just been so many shootings in the city, and the people who are either the perpetrators or the victims, a lot of them are incredibly young. And it's young men, in seeing it like 17, 19, 22. I think we can do better as a city, better as a society. And so that's something I want to change. I also, it's interesting when I've been talking to people and telling them that I'm running for office, a lot of times I get the response, oh, that's elected? It's elected. And for the first time in 12 years, voters are going to have a choice on the ballot. It's not appointed. It's not inherited. It is elected in a citywide race. I want to bring...
I don't think a lot of people know who their Commonwealth Attorney is.
I don't think they do either.
You know, if you ask them, we just go out on the street and ask, they probably wouldn't.
So
majority of them wouldn't know.
That's another reason I want to run. I want to change that. Why
would you want to change? Let's talk about why you think it's important to change that.
I think people should know that they elect a prosecutor.
Okay.
And each city and county in Virginia has an elected Commonwealth Attorney. Virginia calls them Commonwealth Attorneys because we are a Commonwealth. A lot of other states call them district attorneys.
Okay.
But that person is the top law enforcement prosecutor for the whole city. And a lot of things go unreported. We see what's in the news, but we don't get printouts of calls for service from the police. So I guess another thing that made me want to really increase community presence, I was at a city council meeting a few months ago, and at the end of Virginia Beach city council meetings, they will have an open mic, and people can go up and address the city council. There was a group of people from Red Mill in Virginia Beach, and when I think of Red Mill, I think of families, young people, suburbia, kids playing. And there was a group of people who stood up and they were talking about the violence in their neighborhood. And several people spoke. One woman spoke, and she was talking about how her 8-year-old daughter was crying and telling her that she didn't feel safe in her house. And I think after becoming a mother, I view everything through the lens of a parent. And that's heartbreaking. No child should feel unsafe in their own house.
You have all boys.
I have all boys. And afterwards, I was thinking, I wonder if she knows that there's a prosecutor who's, and you work for the people. You work for the people of Virginia Beach. And so I want to be approachable, and I want to collaborate with people on city council. I want to know what's going on in people's districts, and just if we can collaborate and build relationships across the board, I think we can make a lot of progress. And it's not going to happen overnight. I think we can be tough on crime, but also be responsible with reform. And another thing I want to do is I want to implement a veterans docket in Virginia Beach. The Virginia Supreme Court has authorized alternative dockets for the trial courts. There's a mental health docket, a drug court docket, and they have authorized a veterans docket.
What is that?
So it's a specialty docket where if somebody's charged, a drug court docket, if somebody has a possession charge and they're suffering from addiction, they can ask to be screened for drug court, and they'll work. It's various groups kind of come together and work with the person to get them the services they need, and for drug court to try and get sober. Mental health court, if somebody has been diagnosed with a mental health disorder, and sometimes people get off their medication.
So why is it called veterans docket?
So the veterans docket would be unique to veterans. And
okay.
I see that, Virginia Beach, we have one of the largest populations of veterans, a lot of military here.
And they have a lot of challenges.
They have a lot of challenges.
Yeah, I've had several work with me that it's just an issue.
And a lot of these people have served our country. If they've been in combat, it's very likely that they'll have PTSD. And at a time when veterans are kind of AIDS getting gutted from them, now is the time, I think, local governments, local communities, we need to start stepping up. And in a veterans docket, I had a case recently where a woman, she was probably in her mid-30s. She had no criminal history. And this is a public record, so that's why I'm talking about it, but I'm not naming any names. She was intoxicated and driving and passed out in her car. But she had no criminal history. So the police officers, they found her. She's okay. They took her to the emergency room. They have body cameras on, so I'm watching the footage, and she just has a mental breakdown. And she thinks that she's in combat, and she was covering her head. And this was probably one of the worst days of her life. But she has no criminal history. And so I don't know. I'm the prosecutor, and she has her own attorney, so there's only so much information that I can get. But something, I think, triggered her. And then she had, she probably has PTSD, and then turning to substance abuse. So the Veterans Docket would be a collaborative effort from probation, the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, the Circuit Court in Virginia Beach, and finding alternative treatment for veterans like this woman That's just an example. And it's not, violent crime is different. The people who would most likely be accepted into the veterans docket, drug court, the mental health docket, they are not committing violent crimes. So when I say you can still be tough on crime, but be smart with how you're treating addiction, mental health, PTSD, I say we can walk and chew gum at the same time. It doesn't have to be all one or all the other. Okay. And so that is something I very much want to do in Virginia Beach.
Okay. All right. So tell us something that no one knows about you.
About me?
Yeah.
Okay. I like to binge watch shows. That is actually on a Friday night one of my favorite things to do.
What was the last series that you binged?
So I've watched it before, but the last series I watched all the episodes was a show on Netflix called Nobody Wants This. They have a podcast. I was going to ask you if you watched it, but it's just something mindless, and I like watching TV. I also
one of your kids like you, or just you sitting there doing this?
It's just me.
Okay.
They're with their dad when I binge shows. Okay. I don't let them actually watch a lot of TV. That's something I got from my mom.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like your mother.
My mom, we were not, after we ate dinner, we were not allowed to watch TV. The only time she let us watch TV was on Thursday nights. We would watch The Cosby Show. Okay. And that was like a big deal. Can you believe mom's letting us watch TV? So, I like binge watching shows. I love fashion. I like looking. I think we were talking about it earlier. I collect Audrey Hepburn books, and I have a lot of coffee table books. I enjoy looking at pictures, and I really like Jackie Kennedy and her style. So I have a lot of books about her. Ralph Lauren has a great coffee table book, and it's something just relaxing that I just like to look through, and the pictures are. I just like to see what they did with color or unique outfits. Audrey Hepburn had an interesting way and Katharine Hepburn too, where they would take men's clothes and somehow make it feminine. And so things like that. Or
so you do that?
No, I've never really been able to pull that off. I don't know how they were probably a lot smaller than me. But I like shoes and pearls. I have a lot. I always seem to gravitate towards pearls. That's probably a Jackie Kennedy, Audrey Hepburn thing.
I'm going to probably date myself here.
Okay.
What's your favorite Audrey Hepburn movie?
Okay, my favorite...
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
It's Sabrina.
Oh, really?
And she and Sabrina, it's a little bit of a coming-of-age movie. It starts out like a little bit of a Cinderella story. She's a tomboy and has long hair and a ponytail, and she goes to Paris. Then she comes home and she's transformed into this beautiful, elegant woman.
Okay.
So that's my favorite.
Yeah, I like New York, so can you probably guess which one it is?
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
The clothes in Breakfast at Tiffany's, though, are killer. That is, I love Holly Golightly's outfits in Breakfast at Tiffany's. What's your favorite scene in the movie?
When she's sitting in the car across the street from Tiffany's.
Oh.
You can see in the background in the car.
My favorite is the party she has in her apartment.
Oh, that one was pretty good, too. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I love that
There's
scene.
a lot of characters there.
And also when they go and have the day in New York City and they're like walking through the city with their masks, they swiped from the 5 and dime, but that's wrong. They shouldn't have stolen those.
Was you prosecutor?
No, I don't know.
You let her go, huh?
Just return it.
Gotcha. All right, so let's end this with what you need. And what would you like for people to know?
I'm pretty open. If I am happy to meet with people in the city. If anybody has any questions or wants to know more about my campaign.
Yeah.
And I guess spread the word. I want people to know that there are 2 candidates in the Commonwealth Attorney's race.
Okay.
And I love Virginia Beach. I love the city. I'm a product of Virginia Beach Public Schools. This is the city that raised me, and so I want to serve the city. I think being a prosecutor is a calling, and I want to serve in that capacity.
How long is the term for that?
It's 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So both my parents were lifelong public servants, and I don't know that they really ever said that explicitly, like to serve other people. My father, he had a 30-something year, maybe even be 40. I think it actually is 40. Where he was an assistant United States attorney, and all he did was serve. And the work he did, the trials he did, they were so serious, and he made it, at the time, made it look easy. But now, once I started doing it, I was like, oh man, he wasn't really playing around. These are like some serious cases.
Right.
My mom, she stayed home when we were little, and she served her community in a lot of volunteer ways. She was PTA president. She taught our catechism class. She was always very active in our church. And one of the things, I love a lot of things about my mom, but she was a person who had a reputation in the community that people could count on her and people could rely on her. And if she ever heard of somebody needing help or needing something, my mom was one of the first people to bring somebody dinner, or if somebody had surgery, she would help them. She would always tell people, like, she would babysit. She was just reliable and steadfast. And both my parents were. My mom had more time during the day to do those kind of things. And then when she got older, she actually was a victim witness advocate at the Virginia Beach Commonwealth Attorney's office. And she really enjoyed that work. So she would, if there was a victim of a crime, my mom would basically stay with them, explain the process to them, sit with them in court. And so both my parents were public servants, had a deep appreciation for taking care of your neighbor, taking care of your friends, your family, and a lot of compassion for victims of crime. And so that, I feel like that's been instilled in me throughout my life.
Sounds like it. So tell us how we can get in contact with, tell everyone how they can get in contact with you. Do you have social media sites set up and emails or places where people can contact you? So
I have a website.
Okay.
And it's www.suzanne4vb.com.
Okay.
So Suzanne, SuzanneForVB.com. And my campaign manager is awesome, and she is working on getting me set up on social media.
Okay.
People can follow me on my personal page, but I am going to shift to a candidate page. But Suzanne Richmond, and if anybody would like to hear more about my campaign, you can reach out through my website.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
No. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, this was fun.
Okay. Well, good. All right. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us at Listen Up. We'll catch you next time on Listen Up. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'm going to ask you to click on the links below, follow, subscribe, become part of the conversation. And remember, listen up.